Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talks with Tina, where we are pursuing our most true and authentic self. But what? Uncovering our roots. Y'all, this is such an impromptu Talks with Tina, but I'm actually on my way to work, and I was putting this off, and I said I was gonna do it last night. Anywho, long story long. As I am approaching, gosh, we're approaching 5 years of Talks with Tina. That's actually kind of crazy. Approaching the 5th year of Talks with Tina, I was just praying the other day because I realized the latest videos have been extremely vulnerable and transparent. And I said, all right now, Lord, like, hey, I know we throw it out there, we're uncovering our roots and becoming our most true and authentic self, but there's no that is the whole mission and the premise of Talks with Tina. And so how can I expect you guys to be vulnerable and transparent if I kind of reserve myself in that same manner? And so I talked in the last video about growing and maturing, and I think even in this sense, as I am growing and maturing, there are more things that I'm comfortable talking with, the roots that I've uncovered that I'm able to express, like, oh, okay, this kind of happened, this thing did this, and this is how I feel about it. Because I told y'all, me and emotions don't go together at all. We don't go together at all, but I'm learning to kind of be friends with emotions and deal with them in a healthy manner. But today's topic is the truth about me. You know what I mean? And so in the spirit of being transparent and vulnerable, when I was thinking about it, I was driving down the road yesterday, and I think what holds us up a lot as individuals is the parts about us that we're afraid to be honest with. That is that aspect of vulnerability and transparency that we keep kind of on the reserve, because if people know the truth about me, then how do I show them my authentic self? Boom, whole premise of Talks with Tina, becoming your most true and authentic self by uncovering your roots. And so as I've been uncovering my roots, and more so in the last couple of months, I had to really come to the reality and to the acceptance of the truths about me, because the truths about me not only help me become my authentic self, but it allows me to communicate in the areas where I am a little more shy, a little more reserved, a little more standoffish to emotions and things like that. Because why am I so sheltered with emotions? Why do I have a disdain towards y'all? I used to be like, y'all talk about from Saul to Paul. That used to be me when it came to people with emotions. Like, I was like, get them out of here, get them out of here. Because why are we crying? Like, what? Literally, why are we crying? And so when I started to understand the truths about why I don't like emotions, why I am more so on the tougher side, and I think I touched on the point last video, was that I feel like you have to present yourself a certain way to be strong, so people know not to mess with you. You know what I mean? But I think if we are honest, for a lot of people, and I can say so for myself, that is not always the case. I'm never doubting, never going to discredit that you are strong, because some situations in life give us that resilience, give us that strength to push forth any circumstance. However, you have to realize that as you're pushing through, you also cried. As you were pushing through, you also was like, what do I do? How do I do it? You felt alone. While you were pushing through, you felt like no one understood what you were going through. Those are the hard emotions that you have to come to the reality to, because that is how you become your most authentic self. Yes, you have trust issues because while you were going through, nobody was there with you. Yes, you have problems with emotions because every time you tried to show them, somebody kind of discredited or didn't pay attention to it. I can really say for myself, I think my issue with I think just people, but I love people now. Like, the Lord has really softened my heart to a way that I quite literally don't understand. My heart towards God's people is enormous. But I can really recall an incident in 5th grade, and I think both of them still follow me. Hey, but it was these 2 young girls. We were all young at the time, but it was like, it was really a whole racial ordeal too. But it was this little black girl and then this little white girl, right? Sorry. It matters for this context. And I'm a jolly good person in general. Like, I like to be friendly towards everybody, so on and so forth. And so we were playing on the playground. This is 4th grade, mind you. And because these girls did not like me per se, or just didn't want to commingle with me, I can tell y'all a backstory on how that really probably full circle. But I was in the middle of playing. I was like, bow, 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 ew. This girl comes up to me and says, my mom says I can't hang out with black people. And I said, but you black. Like, This is a black girl telling me that her mom says she can't hang out with black people, but that because her and the other girl's mom work together, then that's the difference. And so I went around the park and I was like, immediately that hit of rejection like hit me. I can't call it anything else but what it is. That hit of rejection hit me, and to the point where I was like, oh, I don't want to be nobody friend, but I'm about to go I moved from Chicago in this same year too. But I went around the playground and I was like, you want to play or you can't play because you can't hang out with black people. Like, I immediately put up this defense because I was offended. Like, boom, that's how, let's get some terminology in here. I put up this defense because I was offended. And so when I went to all these other people, I went with the wall, because my wall was down when I was trying to commingle with the other saints. And then as soon as they hit me with a dagger of rejection, I had to put up this wall to say, I'm hurt, but you're not gonna know I'm hurt, so I'm about to go around with an attitude. Y'all feel that? Y'all understand? So I think this facade of strong. And then I was greeted by somebody who says, no, like, we can play. And so I even want to full circle that to say, like, when we come to people with a defensive wall because of what other people did through offending us, we come with this wall and approaching people who have no idea about your situation and circumstances. They don't get to see the authentic version of you, because what you're presenting to them is your rejection. What you're presenting to them is your hurt. What you're presenting to them is your pain. What you're presenting to them is your wounds. And so you just might encounter somebody who has no idea what's going on and is like, yeah, I can love you. Yeah, we can be cool. Yeah, I can be a friend. Like, there's so many things. Yes, I can trust you. But because we come with this defensive wall, we don't understand that there are some people who are just on the blind side to say, I've been on the bench the whole time. Like, I was twirling my phalanges while y'all was on the court. While you was flip-flopping from offense to defense. You know what I mean? Like, because we have to play both. But nah, I'm gonna circle back to that, because we got to play both. Okay, pause. Yes. So when you approach people with the wall, some people are so blinded to the fact of what you are approaching them with, because they don't know that version of you. And so when you come with your offense built up as a defensive wall, you cannot allow people to see the real you, because guess who's hiding behind that? You. At the end of the day, it is you. And so as I was saying about, we play both sides, because be honest with yourself. You're not always on the defensive end. You're not always the one who's offended. Sometimes you are the one creating the offense, and somebody is walking around with the wall built up because of something you did. And so even in my time of really maturing and growing, I've had to hit the hard reality of, there are some people that I probably ain't say the nicest thing to, because this mouth right here was really reckless back then. It's neither here nor there. I thank God for deliverance. But I can say that when I have something on my chest, I say it, and I didn't typically care how I said it. If I had to say it, I was going to say it, and it was going to be just that. Okay, y'all, I got to go. But I think, how do we full circle this, and how do we make it make sense to your life? Be honest with who you are. And how do you confront that wall? You have to run to it yourself. You have to say, because you imagine. All right. So we're here. Don't look at the back of my head. I don't know what it looked like. If I'm here, this is my wall that I built, and this is anybody on the outside is right in here, right? I can't get to that wall. I'm gonna do is talk behind it. But anyway, who has to confront that wall first? Me. And so as I'm confronting my walls and my barriers and the things that are keeping me from being my most true and authentic self, not just my authentic self, my most true and authentic self, I have to confront the person who meets the wall first. That is me, because anybody that I greet is just on the other side. And guess what? They got the option to walk away. I don't have the option to walk away when I barricaded myself in this frame of offense, when I barricaded myself in this frame of rejection, when I barricaded myself in this frame of hurt and pain and shame. Like, be free from all of that. And so how do we full circle and make it make sense to your life again? Is that I think I did. I just made it make sense. Be truthful to yourself as you are growing and maturing. And I pray that we all are at a rate of growing and maturing, and not just staying stagnant. To the person that we are most comfortable with. It is so uncomfortable to move to a new version of yourself that you are unfamiliar with. A healed version, more specifically, a healed version of yourself who doesn't mind love, a healed version of yourself who says, I will open myself up to this again. And then now I have the tools to learn if it doesn't go the right way, then I'm not hurt. I know how to move forward. I know how to be at peace. But you have to get those tools under your belt. And how do you do that? By growing and maturing. I literally just got off a prayer call and we're talking about wisdom. How do you move into the next? You extract the wisdom. Okay, so as we were talking about walls and offense and defense, you extract those things that say, okay, this is what hurt me, and this is how I dealt with it. And so the wisdom in that is, I'm going to take these tools. I'm not going to keep moving hurt. I'm going to understand why I was hurt. Then I'm going to take the tools as to how I navigated this place and then move forward to my next. But I cannot move to my next if I'm still carrying my hurt with me and saying, oh yeah, I'm healed. No, you're not. You're hurt. And that's the chat. I love y'all. Bye.